Hey everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Wampa's Lair podcast video discussions. I am, as always, one of your hosts, Jason Hunt, and over there, on the other side of the camera, we have Carl Leclerc. And oh, by the way, this is our third video discussion, and we've titled it "A Trek to the Lightside."
Yeah, yeah. Hi,
Woo!
Jason. Yes, we are getting JJ Abrams out of the mundane science fictionness of Star Trek into the mystery that is Star Wars.
Woo!
It's going to be awesome. So, before we talk about that, though, we've gotten another big news release from Lucasfilm about
Yes,
sad. No,
sad.
no 3D movies coming out this year.
Yeah,
So,
very depressing.
yeah, I don't
So
know.
the episodes 2 and 3 apparently were scheduled. They were scheduled for release in September and October of this year. Um, but apparently, as of yesterday, I believe, or maybe it was this morning, I don't remember,
Yeah, it was either
uh,
yesterday or today. Yeah.
either late last night or early this morning, it was announced that they will not be coming out this year because they're going to be putting all of their focus in on making the new, episode 7, which makes us wonder if they're just postponing it or if they're canceling it. Now, there hasn't been any official details come out except that it's, on the shelf at the moment. So I'm hoping and praying and pleading that they will come out because I really want to see them on the big screen again. 3D is just a bonus.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed 3D for Phantom Menace. Did you enjoy the 3D for Phantom
Yeah.
Menace?
I mean, I didn't think it was fun, like, blow me out of my seat 3D or anything, but they weren't recorded in 3D, so it's hard to render something into 3D that's not made in 3D. But I thought they were good. And frankly,
Yeah,
like you, I care less for the 3D or not. I just love to see them again on the big screen before episode 7. So
exactly.
that was the biggest bummer to me. The 3D, I mean, I did enjoy it because it did add like a certain depth to the movie. I know a lot of people had bad experiences because of like the real D or whatever. I don't know, whatever version I saw was really good, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know some people were kind of disappointed in it. But I was just looking forward to seeing them on the big screen again. So it kind of stinks. I don't think they're going to abandon it forever. Like a lot of people are speculating that it's going to be canceled. I don't think they'll cancel it completely, but I think
Yeah.
it might be a while now,
Yeah.
which
There's
is
also
fine.
speculation that, and this could be a reason, because there's speculation that episode 7 may be pushed back to 2016, either late 2015 or 2016, simply because JJ Abrams has stuff that he's working on up to like summer.
Okay.
So they may be doing that, pushing things back just slightly. So maybe they're just pushing back the 3D stuff until next year
Yeah.
so that they can start it all up again. That's my hope. I hope that's the case, but we
Yes.
don't know.
Yes. Well,
So
it's always well.
Lucasfilm needs to let us know.
Yeah, they've given us an opportunity to have a new hope. Okay.
You and your squinty-eyed laugh.
I know. Yes. Michael Cohen. Oh, so this is a perfect title to talk about with JJ Abrams, especially for Steve Glosson over at Geek Out Loud. He hates Star Trek, um, but I don't hate it at all. I think it's interesting, but no way can we compare it to Star Wars. But let's
Nah,
talk
not
about
with like
let's talk about JJ Abrams coming into the Star Wars galaxy. I mean, I think I think some of the favorite potential directors for a lot of people were obviously J.J. Abrams, but he was one of the first to supposedly shoot it down. And then Joss Whedon was a very popular possibility. Steven Spielberg early on.
that
Um,
was one of my picks.
yeah, but for me personally, I cannot think of anyone better than J.J. Abrams. I think he might be my favorite director in movies right now. Um, I think Steven Spielberg's really good, but I think he's losing a bit of his touch, kind of like George Lucas did. And it's not as a slam or anything. I think he still makes great films and everything. But yeah, I mean, I think J.J. Abrams he is the new Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. I mean, he is a kind of a new visionary for our times. So what a great way to kickstart a new Star Wars saga with this really iconic and popular director. And in a lot of these interviews, he's made it very clear what a huge Star Wars fan he is. And I think that's so cool to have such a diehard Star Wars fan who is so committed to making a Star Wars film. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. I mean, what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, well, the news came out on uh, what was it, Thursday. There's, TheWrap.com was reporting that supposedly they had you know, a source, an individual with knowledge of the production was the exact quote.
Yeah.
I know because I used it like everywhere on Facebook. I was like, yeah, don't be too excited. But an individual with knowledge of the production that claimed this was the case. And so, various websites started, corroborating and posting about this, and eventually got all the way up to like New York Times, LA Times, things like that. And so I was like, well, this could be a possibility, but I don't trust the internet, so I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to get too excited until I see official confirmation. um I I wanted it to be true. I wanted it to be true because JJ Abrams is very, very talented. He's produced and directed a lot of awesome stuff. Obviously the two new Star Trek movies, the one that came out a couple years ago and the one that's coming out this year, 3 days after my birthday. So I'll be going to seeing that. And he directed Mission Impossible 3. Um, and I don't remember if he directed or if he helped produce. I completely forgot what movie I was talking about. Never mind. But he's done a lot of
Yeah.
directing and producing and
Yeah.
stuff like that with a lot of good stuff.
Right. Well, like
So
Lost was so big, which he
yeah,
produced, and Fringe was really popular. I think did he do Alias or no Felicity?
a,
Excuse me, Felicity.
Felicity.
Yeah, but I actually just watched one of
I
his
think he might
movies.
have.
Hmm?
I think he might have done Alias too. I was
Yeah,
looking at his IMDb earlier, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
yeah.
But I think he might have.
My favorite.
Um,
I became a J. Actually, I was never really big into Lost. I mean, I've never sat down and tried to watch it, so I
I
can't
haven't
say.
either.
Yeah, so I can't say one way or the other. I just know people love it, and
Yeah, by the
um,
time I was interested in checking it out, it was already like 3 seasons in, and I was like, I'll wait for DVD or Netflix or something.
right,
So
right, and it is now on Netflix. So I should check it out.
yeah, so should I.
But actually, just today I just watched one of his one of my favorite movies of his is Cloverfield. I don't know. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen it, no,
Oh, it's
but I've heard
phenomenal.
it. I heard a lot of people think it's amazing. So
Yeah, yeah. And just rewatching that, I mean, I think what I like about J.J. Abrams so much, and even what he did with the last Star Trek movie, is he has a great way of telling a really fun story, but really doing well with characters. That's what I like specifically about Cloverfield. I mean, it's kind of a monster movie, but with this very character-driven story, and you like love the characters. And I felt the same way about Star Trek. You really felt a connection to those characters in Star Trek. I mean, I remember Spock, for instance. Like Spock is kind of the Yoda of Star Trek in a sense, but he's still not like he's still so stoic that he's almost not. I mean, yes, he's not human because he's Vulcan, but he's almost devoid of a personality to some degree, in my opinion. But what he did with this character of Spock in that new Star Trek movie was just awesome, and he really like amped up the action level. I mean, Star Trek like isn't really known for action. I mean, it's more for like sophisticated plots and figuring out puzzles with occasional lame phaser beams. I mean, like what he just did with the yeah, oh, getting a buzz cut. Like it's just like what he did though. I loved that Star Trek film he did, and
the opening action sequence
yeah,
of the last Star Trek movie was just amazing, like
to me it's
freaking amazing.
to me it's almost as good as like the opening scene of A New Hope.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so
I
cool.
mean, is it like completely taken out of A New Hope? Might we say,
Yeah, right.
perhaps?
Yeah,
You know, just
yeah,
just a little bit.
right.
I mean, it even had R2D2 in there somewhere, apparently. Like an Easter egg, they put
Oh,
R2D2 on
really? I didn't know that.
the Kelvin, apparently. Um, I didn't see it the first time around. I think somebody tried to point it out to me at one point, and I missed it. But in one of the shots, you can see R2 on the hull of the ship.
Oh,
But
cool.
uh, but yeah, and he admitted that he totally, basically Star Warsified Star Trek
Yeah.
when he made it. So I don't think Star Warsified is a word, but it is now.
It's in the
But
It's in the Larian language.
There we go. There we go. It's in the Larian language. We can live with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really cool to watch, and like you said, you even like felt for these characters and stuff. Kirk's father and stuff. You felt for as he sacrificed himself. Even though he's only on screen like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That beginning scene. The first time I saw it, I almost cried. I was just
Yeah,
and like you barely knew these characters to some degree, but just the depth of personality he gave them, even in 5 minutes of screen time, is just like, oh, what a phenomenal skill he has.
right, right. Um,
So I
so
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with Star Wars Episode 7, and who knows if he's going to do 8 and 9 or
mhm,
not, but we don't know.
right,
Uh,
right. I, I mean, I don't want to say I hope so because if 7 turns out really bad, I hope not. But what's funny, Jason is like what they're doing right now with with the way they're just like organizing things. It's like obviously the most important thing to Episode 7 is the story.
yes,
I mean, they brought in Michael Arndt, who's a critically acclaimed screenwriter. They've got Lawrence
Oscar
Kasdan.
nominated
Yeah,
and
Lawrence.
winner, I believe. I think he
Yeah,
won
he won
for
it for Eternal, or
Little
no,
Miss
for Toy
Sunshine.
Story 3. He won something for Toy Story 3 as well.
I think he was nominated for Toy Story 3 and then
Oh,
won for
okay,
Little Miss Sunshine, I think.
okay. But anyway, he won
Yeah,
something. That was
yeah,
important.
and he was
Yeah, he
nominated a
definitely
couple
walked
times.
down that Masashi Temple row and got a gold medal. So I mean, but but yeah, I mean, it's just I'm really excited about this because I mean, I know where you stand on prequels and where a lot of the Star Wars community stands. I mean, of course, I like the prequels, but they'll always be second place to me to the OT, mainly because of the writing.
Yeah.
And I think
It-
what's
See,
so cool is I think with JJ Abrams, he's going to be able to capture that vision of George Lucas, which he does awesomely with the prequels. But then it's going to be backed up with like really good depth to the story. And not that the prequels didn't have a good story; they did. It just was so poorly written that it was it just didn't flow as naturally to me as the OT. So I think this is
right,
going to be awesome.
right. The prequels had a great overall story, which is what I focus on.
Hmm.
The script itself, script writing itself was, George should have hired somebody.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, he's a great storyteller, not so much script writer.
right, right,
But of
yeah,
course, last time he had a script writer, for Star Wars, they were wanting to kill off Han Solo. So,
right,
so
right.
that's
But
where he comes from.
if yeah, I mean, and if Harrison Ford is back as Han Solo, I think with JJ Abrams at the helm, it'll be. I mean, if he does die, I think it'll probably be so well done with him. I mean, just like remember, like literally that scene we were just talking about from Star Trek, where Kirk's father sacrifices himself at the beginning. I mean, that almost made me cry. What's he gonna do when he takes like beloved Han and sees him die? Ah, ah, ah! I'll be a sad little wampa.
Sorry.
All right. But something else I was thinking about today, which I'm really excited about with JJ Abrams coming on board, is JJ Abrams likes to bring in some of his people when he works on films. It seems, which I think is really cool. And this goes back to the speculation of composing the music.
Uh-huh.
A lot of JJ Abrams' films have been composed by Michael Giacchino or Giac. Is that how you say it?
I think it's Giacchino.
Yeah, Giacchino, the one, but he's the one who did the soundtrack for Star Trek.
Hmm.
He even did the closing title song for Cloverfield. There's no music in the actual movie, but the end is really cool. That there's this ending song that it's like totally sci-fi and monster movie, perfect.
I actually have that
It's
sound.
called it's called Roar.
Yes.
It's a really cool song, and then he did that beautiful music for the movie Up. Um,
Did
I
The Incredibles.
yeah, I mean that's to me that's my go-to. I know you're a Hans Zimmer man. I like Hans Zimmer as well.
No, that's Riley.
Oh,
Riley's a
that's right.
Hans
That's
Zimmer.
right. That's Riley.
Hans Zimmer's like third on my
Yeah,
list.
I don't. I personally don't want Hans Zimmer to do it. He's too big already. You would know that it's Hans Zimmer. I want it to sound Star Wars, not Hans Zimmer, if that makes sense.
Yes,
And
yes. Of course, here this is all me, saying, provided John Williams doesn't do it. I mean,
right, exactly.
he just came out and he did the score for Lincoln with
Mm,
Steven Spielberg
yeah,
and Kathy Kennedy's latest film that just came out. I I
that
don't
was
know if he was I don't know if he was nominated for an Oscar, but I know the movie was nominated
right.
for a whole
Yeah, it
bunch
was
of
a
Oscars.
fantastic film.
I haven't seen it yet. I really want to. But John Williams still is making scores. I mean, just not as many. So I mean, he
Right.
could still conceivably do 7, 8, and 9, or at least 7, and then work with somebody through 8 and
Yeah.
9 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm in a total minority here when I say this, but my first choice for a composer other than John Williams would be Alan Silvestri, simply because I think the way he uses theme is very much in the same vein as John Williams.
What's
Um,
he done, Jason? In that.
he's done probably the biggest name thing that he's did. Well, he did the Avengers. He did the score for Polar Express. He did the three Back to the Future films.
Oh, okay.
Um, he did Forrest Gump. So and just the way he uses theme.
Mm-hmm.
He did Captain America. Just the way he uses theme is very similar to the way that John Williams uses theme. And so I
Yeah.
think translate that to Star Wars, it'd work rather well.
Sure.
If you don't get John Williams, if you don't get Alan Silvestri, I'm all the way behind Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
But he's, second on my list of non-John Williams
Sure.
composers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And obviously, I want John Williams number one. But if not,
it's
yeah. But again, even this selection of JJ Abrams and stuff. I mean, they're taking this movie like just really seriously. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal. To
it
put
will.
it shortly, and that's just that to me. That's just so exciting. So
Yes,
what they're going to be doing with this movie. So I'm really
indeed.
looking forward to it.
Me
So
too. I can't wait.
yeah,
Sorry. Um,
quite all right.
but
Um,
yes.
yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm really excited to see like a Star Wars film with tremendous depth. That's just kind of what I'm expecting now with
yeah.
somebody like Michael Arndt and JJ Abrams.
Mhm.
And JJ Abrams is really good with like comedy, like lightening moods and such. And he's also really good at like I don't know, he just the way he directs.
Oh,
Like there's so many really cool shots in Star Trek, the way he moves the camera, and also what I'm a huge fan of with JJ Abrams. And he makes some really
lens
cool.
flare.
Oh, I don't mind. Yeah, I actually like the lens flare. But what I'm a real big fan of is his lack of dependence on CGI. He still loves real sets wherever possible. I mean, in Star Trek, yes, obviously all the outer space stuff is CGI. A lot of the scenery is CGI. But, I mean, everything on the ships is always real sets. The Vulcan stuff, it's all real sets. I'm just a huge fan of as much realism as possible. I mean, I think CGI is cool and it's necessary for like big space battles and such like that.
Right.
But in my humble opinion, I think most CGI today still just looks like a good computer game. Um, so the more you don't use, the better the film. And to me, the perfect example, even in Star Wars, is CGI Yoda. While it is really well done, will never be as good to me as the puppet from Empire Strikes Back. It's
That's
just
more. That's a lot of nostalgia there. Talking, when you talk Puppet Yoda, that's extreme nostalgia, and that's like the original. So
yeah, but still, it's something real.
yeah,
Like it's just something real on set, which I really like. I think that adds such a great element to it. I mean,
yeah.
like in
Oh, the CGI
episode
Yoda's a whole
three,
lot better
CGI
than.
is really good. Episode
Oh
two
yeah,
CGI is not that good in my opinion. There's just so much.
Yoda. You're
Yoda's
talking CGI Yoda.
just like the scene. To me, one of the worst scenes CGI wise is when Obi-Wan, Mace, and Yoda are walking through like the temple, and they're talking about how arrogant like that
Yeah,
background. I just like that's not real. It's just so clearly not real. It takes away so much from that scene for me. So like to me, that's something JJ Abrams he would probably build the set for, and it would just be that much more real. So
yeah. Or at
that's
least a
something with
partial
him.
set.
Yeah, because
So
like in an interview for this on the bonus disc for Star Trek, they asked him about like oh man you really invest a lot of time and effort into these sets, and he said well I'm really of the opinion that there's something better for the actors and for the performance to be enacted on real sets. He goes with minimal CGI. He says I think it enhances the performance of the actors, and I think it enhances the vision of the film. And I'm just like wow yeah I totally agree. Whereas I think George Lucas, because he's such like let's push the envelope as much as possible. It's like let's do as much CGI as possible to really like open the window, which is cool and all, but I'm much more of the traditionalist. I think and I think JJ Abrams has a bit of that in him. So
yeah, he has a good mix of traditional set and CGI.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. So
awesome.
yeah, I think it's going to be great. So I'm excited. Hopefully, our next big
Yes.
announcement will be the confirmation of the big
The
three.
big three.
Oh boy. So, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, Well, that's enough. I'll shut up now because I mean I'm so excited.
Yes,
This was
indeed.
my number one speculation from the get go was JJ Abrams like, yeah, let's have it. And then when he was like, no, I'm not going to do it, I was like, dang it. But so I'm really pumped. I mean
Yes.
this movie is just going to be from right now. I mean, it's just what is the main focus? It's like clearly just putting out a really well written, well directed film. And I think,
Indeed.
no matter where Star Wars fans lie, and obviously they're all over the spectrum and everything, but I think it is fair to say that in general, most fans' biggest disappointments with the prequels was just, bad storytelling, or not storytelling, bad script writing, awkward acting. And I think that's what, they're trying to address specifically first in episode 7. It's like, all right, first thing we want to do, we want to write a really good movie, a really good screenplay. And I think that's really cool. And again, this is not me harping that, prequels are terrible. I love the prequels. But I think these are the common things that a lot of people took issue with the prequels. And it seems like
Right.
what they're doing now with episode 7, it's not like a slap in the face, but it's a response to fans. I mean, you have to do that. You got to respond to what
Yeah.
was the issues here. And there were issues with the prequels.
Yep.
And they're addressing them, which I think is awesome. So,
Indeed.
but
Indeed. All right. Now, one last thing I got to put out there before we, wrap this little discussion video up. On Thursday, I did jump on to the Star Wars Reports live show that they were having on the Ustream channel. And during that show, as it had not been confirmed until the following day, Riley challenges me to a bet, $20 to a restaurant of the winner's choice. If JJ Abrams was confirmed, he would win. If he was not, I would win. So we got the confirmation Friday night. And so I will be sending a $20 gift card to Red Lobster to our esteemed Riley Blanton of the Star Wars Report, who has promised to take pictures and photographic evidence of the dinner to send to us when it happens. So I got to get the gift card. I'm probably going to pick that up tonight or tomorrow, but then it'll be sent off. So yay!
yeah,
But yes, so
Jason, that's the only time I've ever cheered against you. I promise.
but hey, don't make a bet that you can't win. So it was either I got $20 to a restaurant or I got JJ Abrams as a director for Star Wars. So I was good either way.
Yeah, Jason, I appreciate you being thrown into the T16 for that one.
Yes, but there you go. Little fun between Star Wars fans, and it was my just complete distrust of the internet at that point that made me accept the bet. Everyone, well, if it's on the internet, it must be true. I'm like, everybody, stop.
Yeah.
No. I'm in
It's-
college right now. You have to cite your sources. When you tell me that it's an individual with knowledge of the production, my immediate response is skepticism. My
Yeah.
immediate response is, aha, sure. So, whether or not it proves to be true later is a moot point at this point. But anyway, but yes. So we have JJ Abrams, and I'm $20 lighter. And Riley has JJ Abrams and $20 in his pocket. So, but yes, other than that, I don't have anything else to say. You have anything else to say, Mr. Leclerc?
I'm about as set as a dewback in the desert. I thought you'd like that one because you're in Arizona.
Yes, I do. Although it's rather cold out right now, so
Ooh.
it's like in the 40s.
Oh my God, that's free. Jason, it was 8 degrees all last week here.
Well, when it goes from 75 to 40 in the space of 24 hours,
Yeah, that's a big jump.
yeah. So
Yeah,
give me just a little bit of a break.
that's fair.
Yes. Thank you, Arizona desert weather. It sometimes does that in the space of a day. It'll like start like at like 40, 42 in the morning, and then it gets to like 76 in the afternoon, and then you're back to 42 that night. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyways,
Those twin desert suns.
one of them comes out, and then the other one comes out, and then one goes away, and then the other one goes away. But anyway, Carl, if people want to get in touch with us about anything, follow the podcast, gripe and complain about Tatooine suns with me, or the frigid Hoth winters with you.
Yeah,
Although
or take a trip to Dagobah. Ooh,
mm,
ooh, ooh.
you can do
All right.
that. Um, how can they do that? How can they
Well,
get in touch with us?
of course, they can find us on Facebook, our Echo Base, which is facebook.com/Wampusler podcast, or also on Twitter, twitter.com/Wampusler, and email us at wampuslerpodcast@gmail.com. And of course on StarWarsReport.com, which I
Oh,
always seem to forget. Ah! Check that out too, because you also have the Star Wars Report podcast, which is the Bomb Diggity, and you got Star Wars Beyond the Films, which is the Proton Biggity. Okay, just running out of sounds there. Oh, jeez.
yeah. All right.
Yes.
Well, to cover Carl's embarrassment there, I'm going to sign us out here. Thank you everyone for listening for watching this Wampus Lair discussion video. We will be back hopefully with another episode next week. Hopefully with our special guest, we'll be able to make that work out. But until then, I'm Jason. That's Carl, and we will see you next time in the Wampus Lair.